And welcome back to Atreyu News. Bad news for Obama. President Trump is lawyering up. President Trump has already hired 26 attorneys to serve in the counsel's office, quickly surpassing the 22 attorneys Obama had at the start of his administration. From CNN, also known as Clinton News Network, President Trump announced Tuesday his team of White House lawyers is bulking up, establishing a larger footprint than the past two administrations had at this point. And it makes perfect sense. For the president who has never been attacked like this in the history of the world, it would make sense that he would need a defense of lawyers to repel the attack from the international bankers, which is who is attacking him. The White House has hired 26 attorneys to serve in the counsel's office under Don McGahn, the Jones Day partner and longtime Trump campaign attorney. That's up from the 22 attorney team serving President Barack Obama at the start of his administration and just the dozen that started off in the early months of President George W. Bush's White House. McGahn, who served as White House counsel, assembled the team during the chaotic first weeks of Trump's administration. Just remember the chaotic first weeks and who's saying it. Chaos and CNN go together perfectly. Which has already tested the limits of presidential authority, skirted ethical lines, and faced a hefty number of legal challenges. Wow, retired Russian colonel warns Trump on nukes and it's bad. A retired Russian military colonel, Viktor Barantz, has warned the Trump administration that Russia is seeding the U.S. shoreline with nuclear mole missiles. From Zero Hedge, in an onion-sounding article in Russian tabloid, well, of course, Trump pump and our big bang bang. Russian military expert Viktor, a retired colonel and former defense ministry spokesman, asserted that Russia has asymmetrical responses to increase in the U.S. military budget. The Middle East Media Research Institute reports that, according to the Russian colonel, Russia is quietly seeding the U.S. shoreline with nuclear mole missiles that dig themselves in and sleep until they are given the command to detonate. That's actually a bit intimidating. Following are excerpts from Barant's article. Our asymmetrical response is nuclear warheads. The U.S. is in the permanent world champion in the size of its military budget, almost $600 billion, which is 10 times more than Russians. Even if we add together the military budget of the top 10 countries in the world, they would not reach the American budget. Now it turns out that even that is not enough for Donald Trump. He intends to increase defense expenditure by $54 billion. This money would be enough to maintain 5 Polish armies or 10 Ukrainian ones. The American public is already grumbling at Trump, who prefers guns to butter. But cunning Trump understands that his trump card is he is buying the support of the army as well as the military-industrial corporations. Former chief of the general staff of the Russian army, Yuri, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, is certain that the idea to increase defense expenditure was presented to Trump by the U.S. military, who argue a lot about the power of the Russian army, realizing this is an opportunity to get new money. But how will Moscow react to the growing military budget of the U.S.? Russia will not compete with the U.S. in defense expenditure. We are in a different weight class. For us, the main question is how to ensure Russia's defense at a lower cost. I am sure that we have already found asymmetrical responses. I don't see a big problem here. What are these mysteries, asymmetrical responses that our politicians in general speak about so often? Maybe it's a myth or a pretty turn-on phrase. No, our asymmetrical response is nuclear warheads and can modify their course and height so that no computer can calculate their trajectory. Or, for example, the Americans are deploying their tanks, airplanes, and special forces battalions along the Russian border, and we are quietly seeding the US shoreline with nuclear mole missiles. They dig themselves in and sleep until they are given the command. I don't believe Russia is stupid enough to do that for two main reasons. One, the world would be destroyed, and two, why make an enemy out of the most powerful country in the world? Breaking: women's protest organizer ends up in handcuffs outside Trump Tower. Was no surprise there, as the radical feminists, that's what they are. They're like radical leftist, anti-Western. It's funny what feminism started as and what it transformed into. It seems like from the 60s, the feminist movement could be looked upon in, like a positive fashion. But now it's become an anti-man, anti-Western civilization organization. It's been hijacked and brainwashed. Let's take a look here. Yeah, she don't look too impressed. Linda Sarcer, one of the organizers behind the recent women's protest, was arrested along with several other women during a day without a woman protest. WashingtonExaminer.com reports Linda Sarsour, that's kind of a shitty name for her. One of the organizers behind the Women's March and the Day Without a Woman demonstration in New York City was arrested with others Wednesday afternoon between Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue and Trump Hotel at Columbus Circle, which are 4 blocks apart. Sarsour and a small group of women, Tamika Mallory, Carmen Perez, and Bob Bland. Group of women, Bob Bland, what is he, one of those transgenders? Were spotted on Wednesday being escorted away by Trump New York City police officers. The women were detained for disorderly conduct after they refused to listen to police instructions to cease and desist. The New York Police Department has not confirmed the incident or whether they will be charged. Yeah, well, looks good on you. It's about time some of them start getting arrested, because if you don't arrest them and make an example of them, they'll go completely insane and start physically attacking people, as we've seen already.